it?
She just went to the bathroom. What?
I just said you could do your dice cards. Thank you. Yeah.
Facing this way.
No, okay, there.
So we had 3 judges.
Person, which side? I'm you're negative.
Quentin, why don't you hit the start button?
Coach Quentin.
Last couple of rounds I haven't had my computer, so I forgot to hit it. But I'm going to hit it right now for the phones.
But I mean, every single prelim. And I mean, I get it. You're there. You're doing it, all that. But it would just make me feel so much better if you would hit the start button.
That's fair. I'm sorry about any of the stress that's caused you.
That's not a All right. Good to go. All right.
Come, big on.
Sorry, what? I'm gonna set the speech now. Okay. Let me know when everyone's good for a code. Cool. It's lowercase t, lowercase a, uppercase L, lowercase e, b, uppercase R.
The B is lowercase.
Yes.
And then R is last one.
Yeah, R is uppercase. Okay. Everyone get it? Anyone not ready? Plan: the United States ought to substantially reduce military presence in West Asia and North Africa region by removing considerable forces from Silic airbase and Republic of Turkey. Advantage 1 is non-proliferation made considerably purely symbolic. Turkey doesn't have aircraft and pilots to argue numbering types of risks into background by governments or non-state actors. Rule 19. Spartan relations, tactical new species, spy hostile Turkey or others increasingly unstable region moving ASP, chicken only and substance pilots, extremely unlikely bombs and instead of make material difference in would still be a hand insert symbolic risk and comments caused. Fear you may cease to be target anti-American military use of organizations, everyone's not hesitated, residents officers plotted in the coup electricity and car in Washington, find opposition to PCs, enemies, Washington, Ozone, favors, US, and Nally has their mass pupils, how to cruise a little drama, withdrawals, and itemizing any other news or more than adequate supplies, with some nuclear blackmail, trading weapons, and easy special forces chain, and that is likely impossible security system can be overcome with terrorists in Turkey have a geopolitical incentive to steal or reverse engineer the nukes, Article 19. Bombs are hostage by everyone wants severe question security that are other threats from insider theft to terrorist waste the actors still have to physical material household only delayed at one time reverse engineer Turkey expressed interest in new security measures not designed to prevent it is inside Turkish airways the situation deteriorates main streets and the rooms of the weapons and broken relationship better the Turkish party blame nukes sincerely are sources of destabilization friction and inevitable instability in Turkey heightens the risk of this nukes till 23. Social political economic suffocation get worse, the average woman in mass unemployment, everyone starting to food in the last year because our health will get worse, leaders carry out a party country will be a trouble for our future and nuclear houses 60 over 20. Turks participated in the nuclear economic threats and has like an inside CPR has provided motivation for WMD efforts by terrorists to purchase and use nukes, continued ability for ominous opportunities. CPR and terrorism threat is real, President terrorist WMD's an ultimate army center, and impending church bills spills over guarantees access to arms by 2019. Erdogan threatened to block Polish and Baltic allies collaborating between Syria and Russian system that was separate on NATO's intent to Erdogan has turned authoritarian and greater criminals that Erdogan will also knows he wants to proliferate one of the world's most dire problems and continue to use this church bomb with Legion arms based around Saudi Arabia, Israel, or recipe for Armageddon, NATO member by China's allies should move the nukes, and until he connects the first step and manage to his instability, continue to use the president's still is unique for some South Turkey's only country where bombers would have to be floating to operate the nukes, meaning normal NATO confidence measures from Russia for strike size 16. Instantly pick up the drop from the first strike and undermine and turn everything to Turkey host nation as aircraft turkeys are fighting pilots will land the U.S. degree bombs U.S. no longer stations are obeying in Turkey. Postures to stabilize the war center peace unlike the U.S. fighter wing with undetected air traffic is monitored satellite and realized intelligence gathering flying in wind and can signal from Moscow to use nukes aircraft being interpreted as first like pumping Russia that's not to bring the alliance capabilities on stability and the cost exchange too. Nuclear war period widespread fires, crop declines, and color production plummeting, reduced climate change, presidential even small nuclear reactor just will block out the sun, predictable climate and apocalyptic and would affect planet's ability to sustain life in the U.S. and Russian tons would drop by more than 3 times the difference between now and last stage to stay there for years, 6 station companies to the end. The plan tests Turkey's invasion system strengthens NATO unity, Erdogan is sensitive because bargaining chip and factors NATO power protection holding Russia, concept 3. Remind Erdogan is asking for our starting with Iran and Syria, Erdogan's holding us with Finland's military assisting Russia's next invasion, NATO occupied because they're standing up to the West place that Erdogan's base like real challenge in Russia used to prove the Western self is trembling and NATO is desperation about remind Turkey that no member since the West sincerely feels less important than Greece or Romania, presenting a flag for Turkey threatening to suspend operations as Europe cooperation with Syria, Lumi's president for major closures to clean the way for cooperation Philippines. The Prime Minister means that Turkey will leverage services until like end. Turkey gets itself a domino effect, NATO cohesion is key of running modulus existential bets, which have a team. Strong lines of complete NATO instrumental industry of our war alliance determine if enemies take seriously promise together, NATO really arrange a world preserving peace, risk of Russia no co attack, conflict catch up the war will or standing to take out log holding up as a stable share out after will collapse scenarios and terrible Japanese and Germany army until left for Russia all the small in Ukraine still goes stand for Japan and war peace in China end. That's the only option to an unreliable ally who control the most effective way to keep them attracted. Erdogan's ability to condition US access and still use emboldens domestic national defense provisions in Code 18. U.S. more hunting than NATO policies gone over results search to undermine the U.S. because of instability Obama overlook and military having access to instability based on the mindset Turkey's vulnerable to threats to its information. Turkey act without regard for its interest without reciprocal effort to sometimes administration discount anti-Americanism. Erdogan encouraged conspiracy theories, silence reports, no consequence, mistrust society, dialogue is not like the rest of time, not expanding resources of punishing policy, making sure recognize follow structural misrepresentation, develop alternatives, and still become useful to Turkey's domestic politics, scientists, information, place with national inserts across over the U.S. Use no longer restricted as pictures, denied access to 2014 U.S. police country by without Turkey wishes to hedge, and Turkey returning to U.S. unrealistic hype dream, the only way to change their behavior is to get rid of their leverage toward 23. Erdogan announcing his membership triggered a frenzy soon to the Turkey way to return to West for digital Southern fallacy, hierarchical relations with father and son, out of touch Turkey's goals to distinct from Western allies, Sweden's about turning the tables on the rest rather than advancing Pacific hegemony in the West plate. The standards that are in Turkey that Erdogan aspires to set standards for Western countries and commentators understand Erdogan and bind between ideological and rational countries can be rational about pursuing goals that others view as ideological. Turkey can stand on its own suit. American concerns Erdogan is essentially opposed to Western dominance. Turkey needs renewing NATO because the only option being its enemies remaining its security strategy and no alliance collapse or proliferation for nuclear pull-out for the 19. With pulling out and alliance research suggested it's overstated the U.S. withdrawal forces from Britain, Korea, and others, and none did it damage the alliance, but larger risk as Turkey acquired. So it is by no means the president would prevent this political diplomatic tools to swing Turkey if the state pulls out. And framework. The standard is maximizing expected well-being, prefer equal impartial subject actors, results isn't it rigorous to explain self-value. 15. Utility is centered for measuring morality, God tries to define values based on two boys' life, dissolve trade-off, it has some kind of common metric, utilism, partiality, social decision makers, you should regard everyone's necessarily equals matters for everybody. The answer is quality, content, conspiracy, why do you care, content, quality, conspiracy, why do you go to work, why do you make money, have a place to live, see, cold or wrong, cold is bad, but this term, pleasure and pain is good, stand for resolving healthy disagreements, produce the best overall experience, and biological death is ontologically bad, Patterson 3. Death is a perfect equal, ontologically shows that independently better or worse lives cannot be warranted, the person radical, ontologically we cannot be either way, objectively, and using government has a risk is better pragmatic for truly investigative political structure, search away from Bruce's and step using abstract solutions for conflict in 513. Resistance is not limited to rejection and finding struggles with discourse with government action on these things, anti judgment, the question over the occasion, nurtures the radical skepticism that unanimously good or bad actors are abstract solutions to political problems. Government mentality has mercy for concerns on common diagnoses, these foster political engagement, and these innovative revolution and constantly twist power by playing over parts of the animal like require relativity and consequence of political choices.
Who steals the nukes?
Sorry, 1 second. Good.
Who steals the nukes?
Sure, Roebling says that non-state actors, for example, in Syria, because the base is super close to the Syrian border, it's 20 miles away, non-state actors from Syria can steal those independently. Erdogan can also take apart the nukes and use them.
When is Erdogan going to steal the nukes?
Why is Erdogan going to steal the
When?
nukes? When?
Yeah.
Sure, the Robo 19 card is pretty clear, removed ASAP, which implies soon.
The card written says they should be moved to ASAP. What is the break for this argument?
Sure, the brink is that recently, well, okay, there are a couple reasons. The first is that recently Erdogan's regime has become more and more unstable. He's old, he's desperate, there have been like party disagreements, which means that he has more incentive to steal the nukes now. The second argument is that he's a structurally unreliable ally, which means it can happen at any time, which is the core 23 evidence.
Okay, so it just could happen at any time. I
Yeah.
guess, your argument about Russia first strike, why do you think that Russia would first strike Turkey or the US?
Why do we think Russia? Sure, it's not a, it's a question of miscalc. The Stein 16 evidence specifically says that currently, because of our pick up and drop approach, Russia can interpret normal NATO confidence measures as a first strike, which is bad.
What are normal NATO confidence measures?
Sure, so like we fly in planes over Turkey, but because we need those planes in order to drop the gravity bombs in Syria, those could be interpreted by Russia as like a nuclear
Why
attack.
do we fly in those planes?
Sorry, what?
Why do we fly in those planes?
For NATO confidence measures.
When?
When? Like every so often.
Okay. I guess your argument about the Turkey hedging towards the west,
Yeah.
or Turkey returning to the west is impossible. Can you explain your arguments?
Yeah, Core 23 is fantastic on this. It says that Turkey does not want to be beholden to Western influence. They want to set their own independent path and set their own rules of the alliance, which is why they do things like, they back Sweden, but then they use that to extract concession from the US and keep backing F-16s. Then they bought S-400s, then they got back into the F-35s program, which is a consistent pattern of disrupting the Western order.
The evidence that you read on the terror impact, where have you highlighted a warrant for nuclear terror causing extinction?
Bianca 20
Yes.
specifically says that nuclear terror has a really high risk for extinction.
Yeah,
There are
why?
a couple reasons. The first is that terrorists can acquire things like WMDs, talks about chemical bioweapons.
So why does that correlate to extinction if terrorists acquire WMDs?
Sure, like enhances the likelihood of nuclear conflicts, could draw in great
Why?
powers.
Okay,
There's an incentive for CBRN because terrorists have an apocalyptic ideology and want to destroy the world.
alright, I guess, the argument on the NATO impact, why is Turkey key to NATO?
Why is Turkey key to NATO? The argument is not that Turkey is key to NATO, but that Turkey is currently undermining NATO cohesion because they use insular nukes to extract concessions like the one I was talking about earlier, like buying the Russian defense systems and then using it to get back into the F-35 program, etc.
Okay, the order will be, 4 off-case positions, and then it will be the 1AC in order of the instability, or the non-proliferation contention, and the instability contention.
I can use that.
Yes. Okay. Give me a second, 1 minute.
For sure. And is anyone not ready? You're good?
Yeah.
Judges? First off is topicality interpretation. The affirmative may not defend reducing U.S. weapons or nuclear missiles or only infrastructure that contains them. The violation is that they only remove nukes from Turkey. Independently, it's extra topical because extra topicality is bad because it lets them spike out of neck arguments and garner offense from anything which is unpredictable. Military presence is troops. Anything beyond that is engagement. Forward and tech ready 01. Specific definitions define overseas presence of military forces. We define engagement as military activities that enhance security, including training, education, security. This is overseas presence forces are involved in conducting engagement activities. Military presence is limited to U.S. troops and the infrastructure needed to sustain them. Crawford 03. Unidentified presence is away from military forces overseas the infrastructure of and equipment necessary to sustain them. Forces are the weapons themselves, and worse, their extra key, which leads to limits offense. Nuclear forces is in the plain text. Nuclear forces define nuclear weapons, delivery platforms, and systems, command, control, and communication. That is not troops. Vote negative for limits and ground. It massively expands the topics, not just troops, but all weapons and infrastructure in the area. Limits outweighs to the apps kills, quality of aircraft, and destroys engagement. Generic systems are untenable because their premise on larger transfer off the bidder on T, events are apt to use competing interpretations. It's a yes or no question with no way to be reasonably topical. Reasonability causes judgment, takes fate out of the bidder's hands and causes race to the bottom, no RBIs, because you don't get to win for being fair. Next off. Interpretation asks must produce military presence in the entire West Asia and North Africa region and words with to away. In throughout region dictionary, the entirety of an area, vote negative for limits and ground. The violation is that they only remove nukes from Turkey. Spec explodes limits in every individual or substantive Turkey country app, which moves aircraft and steals ground based on perceptions of large withdrawals like assurance or deterrence and country-specific BAs. Ground is our internal link limits because regardless of if BAs do link, the addition of needing to cut new links for every permutation of apps that could exist is bad. Paradigm issues are the same as above. Next. Sale of F-16 to support a Swedish membership proves a strong relationship. Yellow is February 2nd. Turkey's ratification of Sweden's membership, they will provide the Turkey among the to be resolved, determined to maintain their relations. No advent will soon this week's parliamentary vote where military success against Russian-aligned actors, Cognitive Day at 126. On January 23rd, Turkey ratified Sweden's as a major step forward this week's parliamentary vote, given Washington an opportunity to turn course report we did not translate the Russian to pivot toward Russia. Turkey's forces ready for military against Russian-aligned actors in Syria, Libya, and the South Caucasus, lending precedence to emergence of credible open power. Erdogan, U.S. NATO alliance high now. Russia is decked to a day from 1 p.m. Horror story, Erdogan may take her inside, is completely irrational, does not need Erdogan's political style, please visit NATO, is quite calm. Turkey's dual foreign policy will give these always Erdogan power, Erdogan will play the Western card, Turkey and I need a Western capital, transfer of commanders, approval of Sweden, Turkey, public support of our country, in joining the alliance, Turkey was Russia was forced to accept all its facts and threatened to neglect the Russian direction, withdrawing nukes causes Turkey prologue, Article 18. U.S. security, those by dirty Canadian NATO and U.S. extended deterrence of Turkey not to weigh with the door to the zone, Turkey's environment, which these are abundant and applicable. U.S. deterrence, Turkey, go pressure developments on the nukes that it has not, despite formidable engineering and scientific capability, illustrates the stability of Turkish the U.S. protected Turkey developed other states obliged to require their own set of deterrent policy against nuclear extortion. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, Algeria, stable deterrence when number of factors against large victims, not predictable, difficult to imagine prices, stability, large non-warming, deployment measures, arsenals are small and unpredictable countries loser, little difference in prolife of Turkish and Iranian nuclear weapons, any weakening of the structure of U.S. alliance system, administrative reputation of the U.S. government, and ability to protect friends. He said Turkey being part of a growing power would play a device world destruction. Iranian Turkish nuclear war would cause behooves everyone to do everything possible to prevent deployment. That includes not threatening to remove nuclear weapons from Turkey, let alone actually doing it would be the most powerful. One of the force behind Turkey's build nuclear arsenal. I'll answer the spam card here. It's wrong. So countries have different incentives. Withdrawing from Britain did not matter because they already have their own nuclear weapons. The situation is distinct because of Erdogan. Diplomatic tools are decked because he perceives himself as being abandoned independently. The diplomatic card also says they get stolen. Look at the middle of the card. They have capabilities and fast October 21. Turkey is under nuclear power in Russia. Or actually, I'll skip this card, evaluate it, don't evaluate it. Turkey probably goes nuclear, turns every out scenario about instability revisions, according to 16. The nuclear vows would be unstable and lack safeguards would be absent of communication toward time frames. The lack of second threat capabilities, a culture that emphasizes prevention of Turkey acquired nukes, a following nuclear Middle East might be the most likely candidate for nuclear war. Next off, or actually skip the next off on case. The nukes are absolutely fine. Removing nukes increases the risk of them being stolen, cause them to leave NATO. This is their evidence. I'll read 1AC Pablo 19. Bombs are heavy underground and secure vaults, critical developments, exposed to an abnormal environment strongly protects the nation system separated from the rest of the bombs from particular goods, environmental sensitive device built in, PALs built in the weapons casing, must be open for the weapons to be armed, replaced by a hard crack electromechanical system, not removable without assembly of the entire warhead. Weapons will be trapped and stored critical internal components. Nukes in Turkey have the most advanced category F lock, incorporates multiple code voltage, switch with lockout, which is manual physical material, then one include weapon. No one says that Turkey grab control. Turkish military, certainly not the Air Force or anyone there would try to boost or threaten the weapon. 15 or more personnel armed reaction force when nukes, also having dozens of armed guards on top of security troop specialists. Reagan, a fortified area seized by enemies, security makeover, defenses, 30-foot clear zones, facility detection of intruder, denied concealment to the intruder, maximize security force, their weapons, reduce surprise attack boundary, complete detection system, detect unauthorized access, analysis system, laser, microwave, remotely operated weapons, watch intruders, impulse, get them out, easier set the gun, moving the 50 bombs, regard as manual zingers, and pipeline under Turkish control, not acquired removal, very vulnerable to Turkey in this operation, decided to mount a diplomatic off the base, that helps drive Turkey from NATO, Turkey deteriorates, unsafe to remove, they're more secure in the vaults at this moment. Next, Turkey prohibits the obviously being kicked out of the alliance, not randomly acquiring nukes that magnifies our internal link, all inserted, no reverse engineering, they don't have materials, so it doesn't work. There's no terrorism warrant. All that says is it makes risk higher. These are claims without warrants, regardless of how good the one air sounds. Hold them in their card. Also says economic instability, not that leads to Turkey to get nukes. Our unique evidence indicates Turkey needs Western capital, which means that domestic issues increase Erdogan complying with US and NATO because he wants to improve voter perception of his economy and foreign policy commitment, which Quentin has in certain relations with Russia. The plan for Russian first striking Russia so on edge and take up drop on Pasha means actions ambiguous and taking these out of Turkey's proceeds getting ready for attack. No one plan declares Russia. There's not even a scenario for why we would find and reassure an ally, and if there is, it's not because they said it happens all the time independently. No Russian war should be 23. Like it, of course, you use that's probably no should not be AP. They certainly consider Putin the level leaders believe he might be. But he's not suicidal. Putin references a potential nuclear war attack to nuclear rhetoric exposes the extent to which the leader feels desperate for leverage. Pretty Russian sources of influence are dwindling. The Russian war is not popular. Reports emerge about lack of confidence troops having leaders. Nukes wouldn't issue Putin's aims. Doctrine calls for war has this tactic. Russian forces are utterly break a factor in NATO retaliation. He lost the operational bench. Argued Putin understands the best thing affecting Russia. In order to watch nuclear weapons, they're rational. They were so afraid they wouldn't first strike a stronger adversary. There's no Turkish traditionalism. Peru is wrong because regardless of Turkey having its own interests at the same time, it will stay with the US, which is our uniqueness. Independently revisionism stuff badly Syria and Libya since 2011 and no World War III. I'll read the card. Turkey envisions mediation to boost global stands over grinders and Brazilian power.
power and use that to vested in preventing regional order disarray, they wasn't the rule. The cards act as so Russia and Turkey are BFFs, but they're not, even if they agree on some things, and even then it doesn't mean they walk away from the US alliance. It's 2023. The card also doesn't say anything about nukes or ambitions, about checking veto powers. The NATO scenario starts here. They have not read a card that says Turkey is key to the broader alliance, or even though retract their expansionism, nor the composition or strong empire, approval of nuclear policy underpins allied confidence in NATO decision making. Willingness of the US allies support many issues, underpin consultation process, or decision making in consultation and is in place under rule structures of NATO, based for consultation is NATO's lifeblood, consultation on nuclear, provide a backdrop to the decision making process. Their evidence says that nukes are key to NATO. There's only a risk of a turn independently. I'll sort of answer the other NATO stuff. It's all about Turkey vetoing things, but our uniqueness evidence proves that Turkey overturned the veto. There is no internal link to large things, because things would still exist in NATO beyond Turkey vetoing some decisions. Regardless, our evidence indicates that they're willing to cooperate, which should take out the NATO scenario. I mean, there's only a risk that the PA turns it.
Okay.
I am good.
On case, you extended something about domestic issues. What was that?
Right. So the evidence on the DA, I'm cross-applying it. It says that Erdogan desperately needs Western capital. The words in the Oslo card talk about economic instability. Because of Turkey's economic instability, they're more likely to cooperate with the U.S. and NATO.
What is Western capital?
Western capital, I think it's talking about money in this instance, but it could also mean like diplomatic effects.
Okay. Any independent reason to date?
No.
Cool. Let's look at
Topicality.
yeah. Let's look at the T shell. The first T shell specifically. What's the TBA?
The TBA, I mean, I don't think we have to defend the TBA. Like, or why are you asking what the TBA is?
Because I want to know how I can read my app under your intro.
You could read an app about reducing only U.S. boots on the ground in the Republic.
So topical apps, if it doesn't include, is the violation weapons or is it nuclear weapons?
The violation is weapons and nuclear weapons. We think.
So
nuclear weapons are bad.
under your interpretation, a topical app would just be the soldiers leaving, but they leave their weapons
Well,
behind.
no. We think that we've read evidence that indicates that military presence refers to the soldiers and equipment necessary to sustain them. We think nuclear weapons are distinct.
Okay, cool. Let's look at the pro-lift this side. Uniqueness evidence is about relations. The link is about pro-lift. Can you explain why good relations means no pro-lift now?
Good relations prove Turkey is willing to cooperate. I mean, like, what are you asking? Like, Turkey won't
I'm saying
proliferate
there's a
its
mismatch
security
between your
guarantees.
uniqueness and your link.
Well, I think the link also makes a uniqueness claim. I think that the uniqueness evidence does apply because it proves that Turkey is increasingly willing to cooperate and be a productive member of the alliance.
What does it mean to be a productive member? Like, what have they done that proves they're productive?
Well, they have ratified Sweden's accession. They have hedged against Russia in multiple theaters.
How have they
supporting-
hedged against Russia?
This is the Tape evidence. It says that that Turkish forces registered successes against Russian-aligned actors in Syria, Libya, and South Caucasus. And also, the evidence from today also says that Turkey does not care that Putin didn't want Sweden in NATO, and they chose to do it anyway.
Cool. So, okay, that's fine.
And the capital thing, it was about money. I'll defend that. The capital question, just to clarify, it's about money investment, not diplomatics.
Okay, sure. Let's look at the LUN 18 evidence norms of consultation strong allies. What's the link to the app?
We think that the act does not consult allies prior, which means that it signals broader abandonment. It undermines NATO decision-making because allies feel like the U.S. has changed its nuclear posture without asking them.
So the link is like unilateral action. Unilateral action on these is bad.
Unilateral action is bad, regardless of what they are. NATO wants to be involved, regardless of if the action is
Cool,
something they
that's
like.
good. You didn't read the comments content.
No.
109. I'll send it. Case, then the order of the
What's the order on case?
top.
So it's starting on condition and disability,
Yeah.
and then you're moving on to, TV presence, no spec, and then the, DA, right?
Yes.
Okay, good to go.
Anyone not good? Great. Okay. Nuclear weapons that instantly can be stolen by terrorist organizations were impossible to deter. Strikes out of catastrophic miscount and subsequent openings were independently Turkey's horrendous, leaving nukes until they reverse engineer stolen nukes, setting off arms six ancestral miscount. Only Czech and Turkey had some line strike and standard Asian key to deterring accidental sign of Russia and granted independently used for Luthanians. Russia perceives typical alliance military measures of U.S. flying in by exposing to the destruction of nuclear targeting. First strike was nuclear line by line. The Pavlodar were highlighted the straw man. It includes it's better to take the nukes out, even if there's a risk in transit security systems will be overcome by reverse engineer taking apart pieces that they won't steal in transit, and includes as an impact hard broken the Pavlodar the links. Yes, reverse engineering you can take apart the bonding happen in field. Yes, terrorism, the officers increasing opportunity motive is more apart from terrorism, your knowledge. Yes, yes, it's ability to population loss, anti-Americanism. That was cooked. Yes, yes, rush for strike announcing which roles normal means, which means it's proven by public relations in 2019, which means that any normal NATO line and any normal planes flying over could trigger Russian miscount. Yes, reassuring allies flying in bombers routine. That was signed. These no Russian war. Their call is only in the context of Ukraine. These are losing pressure center flight time between Russia and Turkey overrides the rational decision for okay, that was signed yesterday. Provision first Sicilian court. Everyone's existentially opposed to Western dominance. Wants to make Syria and Greece and geopolitical goals, not temporary ups and downs. Those proved by prospects. Yes, Russia, Turkey, they bought S-400s from Russia. They're coasting up to them 1 minute, and the next they invite Putin over to Russia. Yes, NATO powers matter when NATO operates by consensus. Now that NATO hard consultation means normal. So it solves the link to restriction, solves peace, and remaining causing host countries no longer trained until it's killed or driven. They assume typical alliance. They assume alliance operations, but the U.S. has always had say over nuclear sharing, which means there's no link, and NATO likes the plan. I'll just 020. Comments underline hardening South Turkey among the EU, states of critical of Libya and Russian weapon systems, such as flight over Turkey's decisions to send ships through Cyprus, where authorities awarded rights to Italian French companies. Because of product companies, go to T. One is moving, we removed US troops and started in charge, and since these plans are vacuum predictable, facing forward 9 round competition to discounted inter military presence includes nuclear weapons, not extra G, as approved to Thompson et al. 95. Government documents and interviews determine from user press allocational misinterest of military presence overseas asking on to accommodate consistent with the draft national military strategy present favorable to defense deterring presence was and acts weapon RTC O2 of military acts personal weapons and equipment for a topic later use nuclear weapons for topic concern Turkey stable ground and depth classes and risk over limiting their interviews schools all out current as being real the Turkish troops have to leave their guns uniforms and boats flying behind in the harbor 6 crews there's no bright lines needed specific for Florida the pragmatic proceeds thematic so long as we improve our definition of predictable not these different readers Thompson military presence entities and moving target E is something functional and disclosure type they get to turn assurance across capital security reasonability of interventional following interest spread theory and substance crowd and the next C-sharp interpretation topical aspect and subset should not the entire West Asia North Africa region it doesn't mean throughout America and D inclusion location precision limits in the lake and stuff referred across by over limiting pigs specific after rather than beetle pigs when research just for instance first class next to those generic cross wide predictability no neck offense reasonability and infinite rigor something a definition of the geographic terms 15 moving article 97 neither is fashion nor history indicates how much reduction that city constitute subtractive varies and hard to read is good to be between texts to be more flexible Turkey prolix one is nuclear umbrella post plan and attack Turkey still Turkey NATO's articles Erdogan is to red mandate becoming NATO's enemy that was forward doing plan doesn't make Turkey second class other NATO allies if you don't have nukes to non unique terms U.S. relations are tank Erdogan says Russian sanctification threats are caught up in Syria confused anti-American domestic sentiments core content coding custodian 3 term calling Turkey bullets prolix that's Erdogan city 23 this was just be general characterized by recurrent stands Russian accommodate concerns of cars posting China Russia purchase for behind the laws air strikes of U.S. partners resolved to rouse nationalistic purpose refuse to impose section hypocritical foreign policy stands following assumptions that fail to long-term improvements the notion that Turkey if you watch Turkey's trust allies will behave it leads to more crisis Erdogan sees every advantage for rule of desires inevitable limits 19 Erdogan stated some countries have missiles but they can't have ours this cannot accept if sterile nations Turkey might decide to take military capability this statement reflects in part Erdogan's capability conduct have nuclear capabilities, category, add capabilities, and a link first on time frame heavy. 20 it's not the bomb itself that's difficult, it's making the material to be short cost and more burning bomb. If you see one of the US independent Turkish steel to overrun the the bombs, and since Turkey's in a safe place to keep nukes and zero shots, Turkey delivery is supposed to happen now 19. American B-61 nukes are being held close hostage that can near perpetuating nuclear vulnerability. Someone can fashion a jury bombs speeding never lose nuclear weapons that are one that had any plans to acquire which is unlikely. Turkey is not presently pursuing a nuclear weapons program, only rating technology to activate nuclear power plant. Developing nuclear weapons is one thing, developing nuclear weapons is quite another. Moscow's having a part in Project Accu, one of the most military disagreements. Neither of the missiles currently capable of developing nuclear warheads. Missile program not designed to produce missiles capable. Got the part of capable.
What was the framework that again?
Capable
Okay.
missile program.
4 minutes perhaps starting right now. is TA. Case will be in order 1C. So we'll start with non-proliferation, and then we'll answer.
So prolif DA, prolif advantage, the other advantage.
Is there a doc?
No.
Okay. Good then.
Turkish proliferation goes nuclear is qualitatively more likely. Kronig says that Middle East prolif is, quote, the most likely candidate for nuclear war because of short flight times and high stability time frame. Garfinkel says that prolif escalates within 2 years. You should prioritize faster impact because you only die once, and it determines the direction of Turn's case, which means that the dissat turns case before the case can turn to dissat. That's more likely than a scary inevitable coup by 2028, but you're going to vote neg on time frame anyway because of an argument I'm going to make later, which is that they have read a card that says that Turkey can buy nukes from Pakistan, which proves that they have a way to acquire nukes immediately if they want the incentive. It outweighs and turns all ass scenarios. First is Russia. It makes conflict with Russia more likely as it means that countries in the Middle East fight each other with nuclear weapons, which was the Kronig evidence, which was conceded, which means that you know at the end of this debate that the dissat turns to Russia scenario because Russia is likely to be drawn in because it has regional partnerships like Iran and other countries in the area. Second is terrorism. We're going to bring substantial defense of the terrorism scenario, but regardless, it's turned by this because it makes it totally more likely. It means that terrorists have an incentive to steal Turkey's new nukes. The third thing that it turns to revisionism, because if they're right that Turkey is revisionism gets significantly much worse if Turkey is a revisionist nuclear power, which is a unique scenario that only the dissat can access. It means that if Turkey is to escape, that in all those areas that they talk about, what is the evidence that it becomes more likely that they're going to sort of use nuclear weapons. It turns NATO finally because it makes Turkey fight NATO countries and sort of destroys its cooperation with them because the link alone turns the case because our link is perception-based how Turkey reacts. The line by line. The first argument they make was the nuclear umbrella. There's no evidence that Article 5 is the only thing that's able to solve this. There's no reason they don't want their own nuclear weapons. They're surrounded by stronger adversaries and want to protect themselves. Article 5 fails to sort of deter Putin because the fact that Putin is still aggressive towards them, which means that they still perceive themselves as needing to acquire nuclear weapons. The second argument they make was the non-unique. It's wrong. Our evidence is more recent. It says Turkey is diplomatically hedging against Putin in multiple theaters, including Syria and Libya, which is from February 2nd. It also says, our third piece of evidence that we read on the DA also says that this is from today, it's from 1 p.m., which is from several hours ago, that Turkey is actively hedging against Russia. You can use this back because Garfinkel says, at least on this issue, Turkey trusts the U.S. regardless of posture. It says that, quote, despite, I'm not going to read the quote because I don't have it on hand right now, but the quote that Garfinkel evidence explicitly says that Turkey has the capabilities now, but has chosen not to do so because of the link. The third argument that they make was coddling. I'll answer it here and do the line behind their card. The link outweighs the link turn because they've not contested the fact that, quote, that Garfinkel says, quote, the Garfinkel evidence says, quote, despite formidable engineering and scientific capabilities, illustrates the stability of Turkish trust in U.S. protection, which means that at least on this issue, that Turkey is a stable ally. I'll answer their card here. Their card does not say anything necessarily. All that it says is that the relationship is down. This is answered by our uniqueness. It says that Turkey is trying to purchase things from China, and that it is avoided sanctions. Sanctions is wrong because it's answered by the fact that it is hedging against Russia, which is our uniqueness, which means that they need to win uniqueness to flip this. It also does not mention the word proliferation or say anything about it, which means that you know the link definitely outweighs because it happens first and it's perception based, whereas we want uniqueness, which means they cannot go over the link turn. The next argument they made was that prolif desire is inevitable. Well, it's wrong. A, it goes neg. The reason prolif is inevitable is the waning status of America as a credible partner. Our uniqueness says the alliance is strong now. B, it says that Turkey's missile building is improving, not that they aim for nukes. And C, it's old. If it really was inevitable, they would have been progress in the last 5 years. Framing. The fact he was so angry in 2019 is a reason the nuclear guarantee, begrudgingly at least, is the final line of the relationship to prevent them from proliferating, which means the link controls the direction of uniqueness because they're guaranteed to do it. The next argument that they make was the link outweighs some time frame. They need to win. They certainly will get the bomb. Our evidence says they have capacity now, but are opting not to, which answers the no materials part. Their evidence also says if Turkey wants the bomb, they can buy one from Pakistan, which means time frame is negative if we win a link. There's no warrant for one being more likely. The reason the card says it's more threatening is in context of U.S. interest, not because it's actually probabilistically more likely. They claim that it's more threatening without a warrant. 1 error 6 is after uniqueness because none of this assumes the link. It just says that Turkey doesn't have the materials now. This is answered by Garfinkel, which says they do have the materials independently. They wrote evidence that indicates they can buy it from Pakistan, which means that they acquire nukes.
Let's go on to the instability argument.
They say that it's a straw man, but independently they have not answered the warrants for why the nukes are secured in the evidence. We're not going for the turn, but rather that the popular evidence is terminal defense to Turkey stealing the nukes. It says that the nukes would deactivate themselves and fry their internal components, which means that they're not able to reverse engineer them. Independently, they have dropped the reason that reverse engineering fails with terrorists because terrorists do not have the weapons, the materials to already do it. They extend defense to the terror scenario. They have no warrant for this. These are all claims without implications in their card, which means you should hold them to it independently. Is that turns terror? That was all above the stuff about the terrorism. They say that terrorism will happen because of. They say that it's more risk and that they have incentives. Regardless of incentives, you don't know why this causes extinction. You know only pro-lift causes extinction because they don't have a scenario for terrorists actually getting the nuclear weapons if they can't reverse engineering them. The next argument that I'll extend is the Oswald thing. They say that that's an opportunity, but they've dropped the fact that from our unique evidence from the 1C that Turkey needs Western capital, which means economic instability in Turkey is a reason that they're more likely to support the US than not, which means they're not going to steal the news. Russia. Once again, Marlborough has badly mishandled the no Russia war impact evidence because they have misunderstood the fact that the Shinkman evidence says that Putin is posturing. It means that you should be skeptical of Putin, of sort of arguments about Russia using nuclear weapons when Russia does not have the ability to do so. Russia wants the West to think we're going to do this because of the fact that they think that it will stop us, it will let us do whatever they want. It does not matter if it is about Ukraine, if it's about Russia posturing broadly. It also says that Putin is not suicidal. They have also dropped the fact that Russia would not retaliate against a stronger adversary because they know the US would beat them. Independently is the revisionism stuff. They have dropped the fact that it is stumped by Libya and Syria since 2011, which is what their evidence is talking about, which means there's no risk of World War III. Independently, uniqueness, which was on the DA, proves that Turkey is able to cooperate. It means there's only a risk of it getting worse as a result. And finally, the NATO impact. The NATO impact is bad because, and it's turned by the DA because it makes cohesion worse because Turkey hates the US now. Independent, will veto more stuff independently. They do not have a reason that Turkey is key to the broader alliance or why this accesses their terminal impact. The only terminal is the terms, which isn't a scenario, so you shouldn't vote on it.
not good. Perfect. Turkey is revisionist, leaving nukes against really means they can reverse engineer stolen nukes, setting off Middle Eastern arms race at Central Moscow. Also, straight trying to dissettle the strength of link. The NATO scenario is an external impact against Bonn and says Turkey is key. They undermine NATO interoperability, resolve great power wars, ways that Turkey perilous stuff installed. The terminal now they spend way too little time on this Turkey scenario. They say that Libya and Syria are numbers, but Sterling badly misunderstands the uniqueness claim that the app makes, which says that Turkey is a structurally unreliable ally. Takes out the cassette, proves that Turkey's day-to-day actions don't matter insofar as their fundamental geopolitical goal is to undermine the Western order, makes them a structural unreliable ally. Means we should take out the nukes before it's too late, before they betray us. They'll make it super clear their Western capital in Sweden at mission and 1 p.m. evidence are our scenario. The whole point is that Turkey is a fair weather friend. Their relationship is one of balancing, which proves individual ups and downs of the relationship don't matter. The point is that they took the F-35, and then they took the Russian S-400s. They still love Sweden, but then they let Sweden in. That makes them unreliable. And the reason why they can do that is because they have reverse leverage in the form of the nukes. That is the 1AC cosmic evidence, which means instead of nukes give Turkey cover to proliferate now on Turkey not revisionist. Yes, Turkey is revisionist. They have conceded that Turkey has a revolutionist ideology, which means that they want to upset Western control of IR, and they pursue that through pragmatism and strategy. That means that appeasement doesn't work. If you give Turkey an inch, they take a mile, which means the only way to remove their leverage and make the cost of undermining the cohesion greater than the benefits. Now the disact. Top levels of ceiling nukes is what gives Turkey cover to proliferate. That's cause that includes Cook and Koru on Garfinkel evidence. All of our link cards posted Garfinkel proof appeasement doesn't work. Also framing out on uniqueness should solve the Garfinkel evidence. One is that all their relations high stuff proves our point, but uniquely stand for the advantage, not the disact, because we're making structural claims about Turkey's grand strategy, which is to undermine the Western liberal order now, which is to undermine the Western liberal order, and which is what makes Turkey structurally unreliable, because they want to play both sides of the US and Russia. They might be hedging against Russia right now, but that's just because they need US money. But in the long term, when we do concede to them, then they will just continue extracting concessions from us, and they will use that to proliferate. Now two arguments that will extend here. First is the NATO umbrella. There was a mismatch between the uniqueness and the link that was identified in cross-ex. Relations does not prove prolific desire. The negative wants you to believe that withdrawal makes Turkey a second-class NATO citizen, but they did not respond adequately to the NATO umbrella argument. Their link is about credible extended deterrence, which answers what they said, which is that there's no reason why NATO umbrella matters. Yes, it does matter. Your link is about credible extended deterrence, but that still exists post-app because Turkey is still covered by the NATO nuclear umbrella. Even if they don't feel as important, it doesn't matter because they know that only 4 countries have nuke systems. So Turkey is on par with countries like the UK and France post-plan. Their only argument is a symbolism argument here, but the plan doesn't change that being surrounded by adversaries isn't a reason to proliferate the cover. Now the turn comes first because Turkey is structurally unreliable. That was above, which means post-plan is Goldilocks. They're still in NATO, so they won't proliferate because they know they would get kicked out of NATO, which means the only risk of acquisition is the status quo because Turkey can hold Incirlik over the US's head as a bargaining chip to extract concessions from left and privilege. That's proven by the Sweden admission in exchange for F-35s. Everyone doesn't have to steal weapons, but you can bargain with the US to extract concessions because the relationship, the geopolitical relationship is not evil. That's Cora and cause net only to assholes by taking away the ski bargaining chip, which means we're the only scenario for them partnering with Pakistan. Calling Turkey makes Poland inevitable without the evidence because they feel emboldened to do whatever they want. They say it's a relationship of stability and trust, but the whole point is there's no stability in the status quo because Turkey is not a stable ally. Good debate.
Before y'all leave, can I have a card doc?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Just like any card you were like read it and the turn on, can you just put it in the file for me? Pretty please, thank you. I appreciate it.
I was about to type back at the docs.
So anything that I referenced in the 2 hours.
Yeah, anything that you were like going back and read the evidence if you could look. Thank you.
I've never done that before.
No, you're all good.
What was Lola last year?
So you're getting this.
I know. You said fumbled the bag.
You said low key yesterday.
You said low key the other day.
We just stand here. It is like pork.
What?
It is like pork.
You're on your show.
That's right. And Vegas has they have a tram here, right? Should have right there. Especially because they have like 12 hours to do it.
They're in Terminal 3. Terminal, the JetBlue is in.
Great. I thought you were gonna say my plane got delayed by another 5 minutes or something. We're gonna get this.
So I can be even from the club.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really need to.
Okay. Congratulations to both teams for making it to the finals of the UNLV tournament. This was a great debate. The decision was a 3-0 for the negative from. Okay, so the way that I evaluated this debate, I started by evaluating naming this question. I think that the negative is ahead on the question that Turkey proliferation is not happening now. They have evidence from today that says that the alliance is strong, and that the 2AR moved to say that the reason why they are conceding now is because they have their own revisionist agenda. Makes sense to me, but doesn't really place any pressure on the NR's argument that the appeasement is better because revisionism can be worse in that Turkey's a nuclear power. Like Turkey, that like increases the likelihood of conflict. That's like the gist of my decision. I wrote other stuff, but
Yeah, I agree with that. I vote negative on the dis side. I also start with the uniqueness question. I think that even if the app is correct and that it is a balancing game, if the negative is winning that, like right now, an hour ago, relations are strong, per 2 pieces of uniqueness evidence, then there's a risk that doing the app would definitely trigger an alliance decline immediately in the dis side impact, but less of a risk that if the app doesn't pass, like today or tomorrow, Turkey goes wild immediately. Also, I go back and evaluate the Garfinkel versus Costnet evidence, and I think the issue with Garfinkel is talking about perception of having nukes there and preventing Turkey from being too unreliable of an ally. So even if they're unreliable, they're maintaining at least some form of peacefulness with the NATO versus US because of nukes there now, and some defense on nukes not being stolen right away / could be blown up if they are stolen, and if Turkey wants to get the nukes, it's just as easy. Which means maintaining the alliance specifically is key, means that there's probably a higher risk of the internal to the dissent.
Okay, I don't disagree with that, but I thought about the debate a little differently. I started on the impact layer. I don't have a great impact to NATO in the 2AR. The 2AR also seems to sort of drop a little bit that Turkey's not key to the alliance, but I give the app some leeway here because their explanation of it's decent. The bigger problem is I don't know what the impact to NATO is, and I don't know why it turns the DA, but the explanation for why DA turns NATO is quite strong. So I sort of think about link uniqueness stuff next. I think link I'm pretty negative for a couple of reasons. One, Garfinkel's pretty specific to nuclear pressures. The sort of app's thesis is that Turkey are fair weather allies. They support us sometimes, they don't support us sometimes. The problem is that I think that thesis is actually generally supports the negative, because their claim is that for nuclear deterrent reasons, they really like the US and our nukes there was stopping them from proliferating. If that's true, they may disagree with us on other issues, but they would never develop nuclear weapons as long as we gave them deterrent stuff. Vis-a-vis the Article 5 thing, my problem is that this isn't substantiated in any cards. I checked the cards that you said say that, and they don't. The words Article 5 or anything about A5 is not in any card in any current debate, so I can't really think about this as a link term, especially when their Garfinkel evidence is quite good. This makes me think about uniqueness stuff. I end up a little more towards the center, because I think that you're right that they're a lot more shaky than just like they're pro-West because of the hour ago. I think that a lot of the analysis that you did about why that's just them balancing and them trying to extract concessions from both the Russia and the US is true. I think the big problem is that I don't have a good contextualization to why the alliance in a broad aspect stops proliferation or prevents proliferation. I think the overall sort of piece that the negative says in their specificity claim is that in regards to nuclear deterrence specifically, even if on other issues we're disagreeing, the US nuclear deterrent is what's keeping Turkey from proliferating. If that's true, the exact nature of the broader relationship I think is less important than what Turkey thinks about the nuclear deterrent. And if they think that the US, given the deterrent, is the reason they don't have to proliferate, then I don't think that I can generate a link term from any of the evidence. Do you have any questions?
I guess in terms of like the NATO thing, I was under the impression that the Koru evidence says that Turkey would never leave
think you should read a plan that Article 5 is the reason why they don't develop nukes, because their graphical evidence says that it's the US deterrent that prevents them from developing nukes. There could be reasons why they think the US deterrent is important, but why they think Article 5 doesn't solve that same role for them. I think if you had a really good card that's like, Turkey never develops nukes because of Article 5, that'd be great. If you had a card that says they don't develop nukes, even if the US pulls out because of Article 5, that'd be, of course, even better.
Sure. So I guess like the two-year analysis about the extended deterrence, like the credible deterrence being the deterrent in our favor actually flowing off, because that's also true for Article 5. How can I better contextualize that to get rid of like the graphical offense? Because if the American deterrent is also true post-plan in Article 5, like I don't understand why that flips me.
I think if you had a card that said all that, that would be good. Like my big thing is like there's not a, Garfinkel's a pretty strong piece of evidence that seems to be talking about the US. The US's nuke stationed in Kilrick as a specific deterrent. If, I just don't have a card anywhere that's like Article 5 provides that same level of capacity and is the reason why they're not proliferating. For me, it's like a specificity evidence-based thing.
Okay. Did you think the 2R went for the right scenario?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Before I voted F on like Russia, like happens first outweighs, and I think that would be actually quite reasonable in this debate because they said, I think in this debate where you do more impact, the one year had a lot of impact contextualization to why their impact card didn't matter for this impact. I think it's easier to win the like quick war happens because of miscalculation, etc. I think that one year did drop a argument that. Sorry, give me just 1 second though.
Sure,
To
yeah.
look like my document was. Yeah, the negative said that bombers, that previous examples of NATO reassurance flight missions, which I guess are a thing, make the AF advantage non-unique because Russia did first strike when there were previous reassurance flights that they should have thought were precursors to a first strike, but they didn't extend it. Just with the fact that I think they want to airdrops it. So in this debate, I think it would have been reasonable to do like Russia outweighs it's very fast, and then on prolif, you could maybe see the like Pakistan thing as like a reason for why it'd be easier for them to get nukes either way or something. But I think in the vacuum the best 2AR against this dissent is like Turkey would proliferate for a wide variety of reasons, and you obviously can't say that because they have a prolific advantage. So I think that when you see construction maybe makes that a little bit difficult for me to think about more about how strategy would work in the context of this South.
Got it. I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on the distinction between U.S. nuclear guarantee and Article 5 guarantee? Is it still that I just need to read a piece of evidence saying they're the same thing?
Yeah, I think
The way I thought about it is maybe I didn't care as much about the distinction. I thought about it in the context of even if you're correct, that's why I started with the question of uniqueness, because I think that even if you're correct about the relationship being like a balancing game, right? If they're correct that right now the relationship is at least a little bit strong, if they win some risk that taking out the nukes would deck the alliance and trigger the impact, then I think that's a reason why the dissent probably comes first. I think that the way I thought about it at least was the nuclear guarantee argument that you were trying to go for, argument was just about the nukes being there for protection, especially because when I went back and read the Garfinkel evidence, it seemed to be contextual to the nukes being there as a layer of security, in Turkey, if that makes sense. Okay. So I guess maybe this is just I didn't understand thing after the Twitter, but I didn't understand how Article 5 offered the same level of security, if that makes sense. If the evidence they're reading, or the link they're reading is about the nukes being in the country.
Okay. And then final question. I think you just said you started with uniqueness, and right now the relationship is a bit strong. How did you evaluate the 2AR argument that the stuff about Finland admission in exchange for concessions, i.e. being let into the SSC program, shows that as an example after the
Right. I guess that's where I just thought it was a question of, well, if right now the relationship is strong, even if it's because they're making strategic concessions, that proves that any shift, i.e. something like the plan, could trigger the impact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for judging.
Great round.
So.
Sorry.
Do you have a few questions?
Go ahead.
I understand it was but do you think there's anything that could be done that could make your decision process more clearly negative? To improve the
I think you should have gone a reasonable Turkey not key to overall thing, because their Beauchamp evidence is pretty generic, where it's like, you know, boy, NATO does all these great things. That seems cool. But I don't know why Turkey, like, leaving the alliance, Turkey making the alliance a little dysfunctional, I don't know why that would stop any of that. So that's like their only piece of offense if they don't win this region.
What about impact count? Do you think that was fine?
That was fine.
And the defense case stuff? Okay. Right to an R?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why did you
That was a sensitive.
No line.
Maybe I'll carry that.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I would never. No, not outside. We should take a team. I want my picture to be on it. I want my picture to be on it. Yeah, because it was like, what they asked, I guess they're so they said it was too early.
The more that I think about the invite thing, I feel like at best it's an all cause, but it can't be a loser.
The more I think about it, the more I'm like, why did we ever try NATO back?
Why does the Why does the 1NC ever need to change?
It doesn't. Wait, you can take the.
Alright, we're heading out to take a picture somewhere out here, so we're ready to do that. And somebody's find Eli and Christian and anyone else missing.
I know I wait.
Maybe there's just a recording.
I know I recorded my.
Yeah, we're good.
Where's my quarters trophy? Oh, there it is. Wait, whose phone is this?
Oh my goodness.
Is that yours?
Kensho, we've got to stop recording.
Oh my god.
Hello, we win. What do you feel about that?
I'm so happy.